Question number 6 on Schoology is talking about negative exponents, and this one is also on your formula chart. And an exponent that is negative is moving that variable to the other part of the fraction, so top or bottom. And if there's just a top, or if there's just one line like we have in this question on slide 6, basically that's all like the top of a fraction. So you don't see the bottom, but we can turn anything into a fraction by just putting a 1 under it. So when we expand, we need to keep in mind that everything is currently on top. Now on our supplemental aid, we have some things that will help us. We have this sad face next to a moving van. And that's going to help you remember that if you have a negative exponent, you can think of it as like being sad. And if it's sad, we're going to move it to a place where it's going to be happy. So after it moves, it's going to become happy or a positive. So we're going to start off again, and I want to point out that we have parentheses next to parentheses next to parentheses, like this. And remember that that means times or multiply. So what you're going to do with your number part, and that's what I'm going to focus on as we start expanding, because this is the part that students start confusing, is that we need to remember that we are still multiplying our coefficients. Now I'm going to take it one step at a time and start all the way at the beginning, and we're going to expand. That means write it out the long way. We're just going to expand everything and then see what we've got. So we're going to start off with this x. So we have an x, and then we have a y right next to it. And we write those once because this 2 only goes with that z. And if you do the same things, the same marks that I'm doing right now, that might help you. So we're going to write the z down twice. So nothing really new has happened at this point. All right, now all of that is in the parentheses. And so you can keep it in the parentheses if you want. Then we're going to come over here. And again, this 4, there's a power of 4. What is the 4 going to go with? The 4 clones that x. Okay, so x has the power. X has the power of 4. So what about the 3? Again, 3 still does have a power, but it's invisible. It's only going to happen once. So we're going to write the 3 down once, but we're going to write x 1, 2, 3, 4 times. Then we're going to come over here, and we're going to write the next set of parentheses. And here's where it gets a little crazy. All right, so we have a power in this next set of parentheses. Who has the power? The x has the power of -2. Oh, it's a sad power. So it's a negative. So what that means is that all of this is sad. So we're going to move it. And again, remember that anything can be a fraction if you put a 1 under it. So it's unhappy, and now you can see that it's on the top. So if it's unhappy and it's on the top, we can rewrite it on the bottom like this. And when we move it, it's now happy to be on the bottom. And so that's x to the second power goes on the bottom. That 9 has an invisible power of 1. And 1 is a positive. So the 9 was happy on the top. So we're actually going to keep the 9 on the top. And so this is what it looks like when you expand. Oh, I didn't expand. Let me fix this one right here. X squared was on the bottom, and so I'm just going to write it out. The power of 2 means that there's 2 of them. So again, we have those parentheses next to the parentheses right here, so that means times. So we're going to do 3 times 9, and 3 times 9 gives you 27. And then we're going to go, and now we're going to count, because we go alphabetically. X's come next. So we're going to count our x's. Now if you'll notice, there's some on the top and some on the bottom. So this is where we use, again, our supplemental aid to remind us that we can cross some stuff off if they are exactly the same on top and on bottom. So I have an x on top right here, and that's going to cross off with one of these on bottom. I have another x on top over here and another x on bottom, and those can cross off. And so what do we have left? We have 1, 2, 3. So we have x to the third power. And we can find that down here and pop it in. Next, we're going to have the y's. So y's come next. So then we're just going to go and count our y's, and we have 1 y, so we just have a y. And again, y has that invisible power of 1 that we don't have to write. And then the final step is that we're going to count our z's. How many z's do we have? We have 1, 2, and those z's are on top. So it's going to look like this, z to the second power. And we did not end up with anything left on the bottom, so our final answer is not a fraction. It's just, again, all on the top. And that is question number 6.